Hello everyone. In this lecture we will discuss about the birth asphyxia. Birth asphyxia is also called as perinatal asphyxia because it may start during birth or it may also start during intrauterine life during perinatal period from 22 week of gestation to 7 days after birth. Hence it is also called as perinatal asphyxia. In India, 25 million infants born every year, and out of them 3 to 5% of them experience birth asphyxia. Asphyxia, as we already discussed in the FMT lecture, if you haven't seen, click on the description link given below. But in short, I will tell you asphyxia basically it is the interference in the exchange of O2 and CO2. So the oxygen decreases in the body and that condition is called as hypoxia. Due to decrease in oxygen, CO2 concentration increases in our body and that is called as hypercapnia. So due to decrease in oxygen, heart is not pumping well and therefore the blood reaching to the our vital organ and other internal organs of the body decrease, and due to which perfusion of tissue is also decreased and which is result in hypoperfusion, that is also known as ischemia. And because of low oxygen, body started anaerobic respiration resulting in increase in lactic acid and which result in the metabolic acidosis, and all these four conditions leads to multiple organ dysfunction syndrome which can eventually leads to death. And HIE, this is the complication of birth asphyxia which start when the hypoxia and ischemia severely affect the brain, which result in the hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. It leads to neuromotor injury and which is eventually also leads to death. So this is the birth asphyxia. If we discuss about its pathophysiology, when an infant born, if he deprived of oxygen and rapid breathing start for a short period of time, and if asphyxia continue, respiratory movement cease and infant enter in the primary apnea. In primary apnea, heart rate decreases, neuromuscular tone decreases and blood pressure remain normal. In most cases, primary apnea do not need any treatment because in most cases tactile stimulation is enough to reinitiate the respiration. Therefore, when a baby is born, doctor always try to make him cry by slapping on his back, and you may also seen in such condition in movies. But if after giving tactile stimulation baby is still not crying, then it is a severe condition and their resuscitation may require. So the asphyxia will continue from primary apnea and infant enter in the deep gasping respiration. Gasping means if it's like you want to breathe but it feels like your mouth and nose is closed, and that condition is called gasping. And here also heart rate continue decreasing and blood pressure begins to fall. In primary apnea blood pressure is normal, but when asphyxia continue, the phase in between the primary and secondary apnea, blood pressure begins to fall and the baby becomes flaccid, and after that breathing becomes weaker until infant gasps, and this is the state when he enters into the secondary apnea. In secondary apnea, stimulation does not work, tactile stimulation does not work, therefore positive pressure ventilation is initiated, and that is the resuscitation program. So during birth, a trained resuscitation team should always be present, no matter the birth is normal or high risk or low risk, it doesn't matter. A well prepared resuscitation team should already present during childbirth. Note: as a result of fetal asphyxia, infant may go into primary and secondary apnea even during uterus. Therefore, during birth, you can't say it is primary or secondary apnea because in both conditions, infant is not breathing and the heart rate is below 100 bpm. So it is clinically non-distinguishable. Therefore, we always and almost assume it secondary apnea and be ready for resuscitation. Lung inflation. So you should also know about what happens in the lung before and after birth and during asphyxia. During intrauterine life, as you know, babies depend on placenta for everything, for food, for gaseous exchange, for excretion, and inside the uterus the lung is not active, it is inactive because the alveoli of lung is filled with type 2 alveolar cell and it is responsible for the secretion of fluid in the alveoli. But after birth, this fluid is removed, it reabsorbed from the perivascular space and from there it enters into the blood and lymphatic system. But the fluid is not easily removed. During the process of labor, the process of labor actually facilitating the removal of fluid. So labor always seen in the normal delivery, but if the delivery is cesarean, so the labor is slow and therefore the removal of fluid is also decreased. And after the fluid removal, respiration soon start after the birth. And the first few breaths is very effective to expand the alveoli and to replace the alveolar fluid with the air. So during after birth when baby cry, it's very important because these are the few first inspiration and expiration occur at which the alveoli get replaced with the air, alveolar fluid get replaced with the air. But if respiration is weak after birth, it means lung not inflated and this condition is called apnea. It means baby entered in the apnea condition and he is not breathing. Let's talk about oxygenation. Oxygenation not only depend upon air enter into the alveoli but it is also depend upon the pulmonary circulation. If the baby is under good ventilation but the pulmonary circulation is poor, then the baby is also in the apneic condition. Let's see how. During intrauterine life, the pulmonary blood vessel is constricted, that is pulmonary vasoconstrictor, and only a little amount of blood is allowed to enter the lungs. And after the birth, pulmonary blood vessel is dilated, that is pulmonary vasodilation, due to which the pulmonary vascular resistance is decreased and increased blood flow in the pulmonary circuit is seen. But what happens in the asphyxiated person? In asphyxiated person, oxygen concentration is low in the blood, that is hypoxemia, and the pH of blood is also low, that is acidosis. Both these conditions result in the pulmonary arterioles remains constricted, mean the pulmonary artery do not vasodilate after birth in the asphyxiated infant, and ductus arteriosus is also remain open, due to which fetal circulation still persists after the birth and it results in the poor pulmonary blood flow, due to which proper oxygenation of tissue is impossible because of inadequate oxygen uptake even when the infant is being properly ventilated. If the asphyxiated infant is in mild condition, so there is possibility to increase the pulmonary blood flow by quickly giving the ventilation. But But if the asphyxiated patient is severely affected, so only ventilation does not work. Oxygenation along with metabolic correction of metabolic acidosis is required to open the pulmonary arterioles to improve the pulmonary blood flow. Now we discuss about the cardiac function and the systemic circulation. In asphyxia, redistribution of blood flow occur, and the body send blood supply to the vital organ, that is heart and brain, and it decrease the supply of blood to other organs like bowel, kidney, muscle and skin. So in their blood vessel it causes vasoconstriction and allowing the blood supply to sending more and more blood to the vital organ in order to keeping the person alive. And if asphyxia is prolonged, myocardial function and cardiac output is also deteriorate, and it result in the blood flow to all organ further decreases, which is worsening the condition and causing progressive organ damage. At this stage, cardiac stimulant is required, that is epinephrine, and volume expander like normal saline is also required, which support the heart and circulation. So this is all about the birth asphyxia. In later lecture we will discuss about its treatment. I hope you found this video useful. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.